Alright, hey guys. While I'm making a video, or just finished making a video about my TPT store that I made, I might talk about my experience with the NEXUS Latrobe program. Alright, so the program that lets you become a teacher through obtaining a master's in teaching. Alright, secondary school it was. So as a quick summary, it's a 1.5 year accelerated program where if you already have a bachelor's degree in something that's relevant to be taught at school, you can then get into this Masters of Teaching program with Latrobe University. That basically they put you in a school for a year, or they place you in a school for a year, working 2 or 3 days a week as a learning support while you complete your Masters in Teaching. And then in the second year, you have another 6 months to go while working full-time 4 days a week as a teacher. All right, in the year I started, which was 2023, there were about 40 of us or 50 that started in the program. And by the time I finished in the 1.5 years, I kept pace with the 1.5 year program, but there was only about 10 of us that actually finished in the 1.5 years. All right, so it had a very high dropout rate due to the demands that doing a master's in teaching and just a teaching degree in general, right, has on your personal life, just due to the time commitments of the assessments, as well as the placement conditions and everything else that's going on. I did find it reasonably challenging, and all I had was a girlfriend, all right, as my responsibilities in my life. All right, if you have kids, some kind of complex situation, some kind of debt where you need to do additional work outside of the program, all right, highly likely the program is not for you, all right, because it is so demanding on your personal time. All right, you really need minimal responsibilities outside of the program. So just a quick closing remark on that topic. If you have minimal responsibilities in your life, all right, have a go at the NEXUS program with Latrobe Uni. Otherwise, all right, if you have a family, if you have other things going on, the program is probably not for you, all right, because from experience, most people could not keep up with the pace, all right. The workload expected to complete these uni assignments and do the placements in the school, all right, and just the demands of working in the schools that you get placed in with the Latrobe program, all right, it's very demanding, and most people, all right, dropped out. All right, so let's say that you still want to do the NEXUS program, all right, because you want to become a teacher, and this is just the only way that you can see yourself becoming a teacher, because the regular 2-year degree, all right, it costs too much money, and for whatever reasons, you just want to get it done in a 1.5 years. What can you expect? All right, first thing is you are going to be placed in a school that is very challenging to teach in, all right, and it might be worse than any school you ever went to as a kid. All right, think about why they started this program in the first place. It's to fill teacher shortages in hard to teach schools. Why are those schools hard to teach in? It's not because people don't live there. It's because the behaviors you encounter at those schools are extremely confrontational and demanding. And if you have any sensitivity to what the kids say to you, you would not last 2 weeks in these schools. They are hard to teach in. They are hard to be an ES staff in. They are hard places to work. All right, my cohort of NEXUS applicants, we used to have a group chat on Facebook, and the stories, we used to always share stories about what the experiences were that we were having at school, and they were traumatic. All right, there's all sorts of misogyny, homophobia, sexual remarks, fighting, stabbing, just it doesn't stop, all right, the types of things that you encounter at these schools. When you enter these schools, you cannot be in a journey of self-discovery. You need to already know who you are and what you value so that you can draw a firm line in the sand when things pass what you think is acceptable, all right? You as the adult at these schools, you need to set the standard of what is expected, all right? You cannot let the students draw their own lines, all right, because your values as a teacher will be compromised and you won't enjoy your work, all right? You need to learn before you start working at these schools what it is that you value and what it is that you want to get out of being a teacher. Once you've got your values set, you then are going to go on a learning journey where you realize what you thought was a good teacher isn't actually what a good teacher is. All right, you're going to learn that through experience, and what makes an effective teacher isn't what you had in mind. All right, it's not having the facts right. It's not providing 10 differentiated activities. It's not saying please and thank you to every student. All right, it will change whatever you thought a great teacher was, it will change. At your school, in that first year when you're in ES, you are going to see so many fantastic teachers. All right, teachers who have been doing it for 5, 15, 20 years, and they put so much effort into their teaching, all right, and those kids can learn so much. All right, but what you're also going to go see, all right, is you can have a great teacher in front of these students and they still learn nothing. All right, the attitudes that the kids bring with themselves to the classroom is what makes the difference as to are they learning or are they not. All right, you will see great teachers not teach anything because the students are not willing to listen and they don't care about the content. All right, they don't care about the topic, and there is nothing that that teacher can do to change it. All right, that is the sad reality of education in some of these schools, is there are fantastic teachers, all right, who teach anything, but if the kids aren't interested, if they're not willing to listen, it is so sad to see these classrooms where kids go in and they go out having learned nothing. All right, it is sad and you need to be ready for it. You will also see teachers hanging on by a thread. Every day they're turning up, traumatized, scared of the classes to come, scared of kids that they have to teach in their own class because they get abused by these kids. All right, and they're turning up every day, crying daily, all right, teaching these classes. You will see that. Just because I'm coming to the end of my walk now, I'll cut this short, all right, but I think there should be a video up on YouTube of someone talking about the types of things that you encounter in these programs. By all means, if you want to become a teacher, do it. All right, it's a great job, it's rewarding. I really do enjoy teaching at the school that I'm teaching at now. All right, but during that Nexus program, it is tough. You will be placed at schools where it is very difficult to teach, and learning is not the priority. All right, well-being is the priority, and well-being, all right, unfortunately, this is where I think Nexus gets strong. Well-being and learning do not necessarily go hand in hand. All right, when you place the well-being of certain students above the rights of every other student in the room, learning does not occur. All right, learning is destroyed in some situations. And the sad reality is at a lot of those schools that people got placed in at the Nexus program, learning was not the priority. And as a teacher, it makes you wonder, why am I even here? Am I here to babysit kids, or am I here to educate? And unfortunately, all right, it's the prior.